Boogie, help me out here, buddy.
Well, gamers, grab your Mountain Dew.
By the way,
lock and load your controller.
Okay, I'm gonna restart this because I need to make sure I get a good break in here because I've been trying to cut these up into segments, but Boogie is I just need to move on from the palate cleanser with that. That was rough. I'm gonna be honest. That apology fucking sucked in my opinion. I felt like he said a sorry for a lot of shit, but never really took accountability for it. He just reiterated what had happened and then said, I'm sorry after it. Like, I'm not looking for your justification. Don't get me wrong. And you gave me plenty of that. You justified it. But like, I don't know. I don't believe that apology. Maybe I'm just cynical right now. Maybe. I don't fucking know. But anyway, I want to get on to the funny drama. I am going to end it probably after this Boogie and Tipster stuff, but we'll see. Maybe I get on a second wind. But yeah, this Tipster video is long. You know what? I'm just going to close these out now. We'll do this shit another time for these because this is going to be a long enough one, and I'd rather end on funny than deal with another asshole. And Rich is a fucking asshole in my opinion. All right, so Gamergate. If you don't know what that is, there's enough fucking videos out there. Go watch them. Gamergate 2 is specifically involving this company, Sweet Baby Inc. And they're kind of a diversity group that comes in and evaluates your company, and in this case, the video game product that you're putting out, and the whole end product from end to end, to make sure that there's the most inclusivity and diversity within your company and your game and everything else, and things are really represented. Well, I guess they had a bit of a back and forth with Elon Musk. Boogie's going to do a pretty good job here of breaking down the situation, and I feel like he's actually genuinely passionate about this, and it's coming from somebody that, you know what, he's your stereotypical overweight gamer dude, and I feel like there's absolutely no one better to explain this situation than Boogie. So, and this is a pretty relatively short video. We'll bump it up a little bit, but I'll let Boogie explain it. Come on, Boogie.
Gamergate 2 has officially begun. And who's leading the clapback this time? Is it just some random neckbeard on the internet like me? No, it's Elon freaking Musk. And you might be asking, who is Elon squaring off against? Is it some Anita Sarkeesian type? No. It's Homeland Security. I'm going to break this video down into two parts. The first of which is to get people caught up to speed as to exactly what's happening and why it's happening. And secondly, as an old head who lived through the first Gamergate and in fact made quite a few mistakes during the first Gamergate, I want to talk about my opinion on what's probably going to happen here and what we should be doing. Now, all of this starts with a company that you probably never heard of, known as Sweet Baby Incorporated, which in their own words is a narrative development and consultation studio based in Montreal and working around the globe. Their mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video games industry. They aim to make more games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, and more inclusive for everyone. Spoiler alert, they mostly failed to do so. Now, right here on their website, you'll see a list of games that they have worked on. And this is important later, so take a big note. But you'll see that some of these games have been too big to fail. God of War Ragnarok, sequel to the original God of War. Alan Wake 2, sequel to the original Alan Wake. Spider-Man 2, too big to fail. And some other games on here are some real stinkers, like Suicide Squad, where they worked on the script writing, the banter, the cutscenes, and other things. The things that made Suicide Squad utterly fail. Meanwhile, over here on Steam, you'll see these curation pages where people can curate lists of games based on all kinds of different things, whether or not they recommend them or don't recommend them, the type of game they are, the type of DRM they use. And this user decided to create a list of games based on games that Sweet Baby Incorporated had worked on. That way, if you've had a good experience with this company in the past, you could play that game based on that recommendation. And if you've had a bad experience in the past, you can choose to avoid that game. And this is just here to inform the consumer. Well, eventually, this Steam group caught the attention of Chris Kindred, who works for Sweet Baby Incorporated. And Chris tweeted out saying that it was a harassment group dedicated to harassing Sweet Baby Incorporated, and that it obviously doesn't adhere to Steam's policies and code of conduct. And she encouraged people to report report the hell out of the group in the hopes that it would get taken down. And while you're at it, why don't you report this guy, the guy who created this consumer advocacy list, report his account that he spent all his time and all this money on to see if you can get that taken away from him as well. And again, because he was informing consumers. Now, you remember earlier when we were taking a look at the Sweet Baby website, I pointed out that they list the games that they have worked on right on their website. So if they're doing that themselves, are they harassing themselves? How could it possibly be harassment to copy paste this list of games that they've posted themselves over on Steam? That it's nonsensical, and it's definitely not worth somebody losing their Steam account over. Now, obviously, gamers didn't like that, but you know who else didn't? Twitter. Twitter fed Chris a 6-day ban for targeted harassment, the thing that Chris was actually doing, the thing that, she was accusing others of doing and decided to do herself. Meanwhile, we have Lego Butts, who I presume you remember from the first Gamergate if you were around for it, pointing out that Steam doesn't, force people to prove that a game has been worked on by Sweet Baby Incorporated, and that might be why it should get taken down. This got community noted by the fact that, number one, Lego Butts works for Sweet Baby Incorporated, and probably shouldn't be trusted on this particular topic, and that secondly, the curator literally uses that games list that they have on their website that I showed you early to, prove that these are the games they've worked on. And allow me to interject some editorial here. Why are these guys afraid of people listing the games they've worked on to begin with? If you've done good work and you're proud of the work you've done, someone listing all the games you've worked on should be doing you a favor, right? Unless, of course, the work you're putting in is bad and it's ruined some of the games that could have been better, then you probably don't want people...
Okay, so far, I don't feel like Boogie's really done anything wrong here. I mean, we're going to see Tipster's reaction to this, which I think is fucking unhinged. And I'm going to try and thoroughly make sure Tipster knows exactly how unhinged he is. Does he have the red, white, and blue Mountain Dew back there? Man, Boogie is a Mountain Dew aficionado, eh? Huh. Okay, while this is playing, I'm going to do something really quick here.
Curating that list, I think they know what they're doing. Now, due to the Streisand effect, all of this caused that curated list to bloom over 100K, now 250K people on that list supporting this cause. And as people dug around, they found this, the co-founder of Sweet Baby Incorporated, basically saying that they bully people into putting this type of stuff in their games. Here, I'll let her speak for herself.
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research.
By the way, I did see this as far as the Tipster clip goes, and this gets really fucking funny later. Because Tipster's like, oh, he doesn't provide the context. I don't know how much more fucking context you could provide here.
Go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
I don't think it's ever a good look to say that your company is based on wielding cancel culture to get big companies to pay you. But if at least you're providing a valuable service, I guess that might be at least conceivable. But if you wonder what kind of service Sweet Baby Incorporated is trying to provide, well, look at these tweets from Felix, who we spoke about earlier. Pay me to shoot down your white male lead game ideas. I had a nightmare that I was a white male gamer. Yeah, it's pretty abundantly clear that they're not there to add diversity to games. They're there to push white people and white males out. Then you got the old media stepping in. This is game developer, a writer by the name of Brian Francis, who says, Steam and Discord are being used as a home base for hateful reactionaries to single out and harass game developers. Why are Valve and Discord permitting harassment against Sweet Baby Incorporated?
What is harassment?
Again, the harassment Brian is so upset about is that someone copy and pasted.
Okay, I did not watch this video at a time, but that was kind of funny, the fact that he actually answered what the harassment was.
From the Sweet Baby Incorporated website, the list of games they've worked on so that you can make an informed decision whether or not you want to support the games that they've worked on. I mean, I guess in Brian's article, he does point out that at one point there was a forum on that curation group where a lot of people, a handful of bad actors, said some crazy shit, but the curator just got rid of those forums. So there's nothing that could possibly be harassment on that page, right? It's just a list of games. But here's where things get entirely off the rails. This group named Take This, which, after getting looked into, found out they were being funded by Homeland Security here in the United States, posted an article called Responding to Gamergate 2, saying Gamergate 2 is the latest targeting harassment campaign within the games industry, and it's aimed at Sweet Baby Incorporated, and that all scholars and journalists and game developers must do everything they can to shut down Gamergate 2 and denounce the gamers who don't want to buy games that have been worked on by this company. So there's your smoking gun. The Department of Homeland Security funding an organization that just fired the warning shot. The Gamergate 2 is coming, and we need to make sure that every gamer knows they have to buy the games worked on by Sweet Baby Incorporated good or else they're the bad guys. Am I taking crazy?
I'm gonna give Boogie this. He's actually fucking right. Okay, by the way, what I was grabbing. So if somebody wants to clip this, they can. Where's my normal? There it is. All right, lights are on. Okay, Boogie, you got that one? This is one of the more rare Mountain Dews, and I don't know if you can. It's got the liquid in it. I mean, it's sealed top and everything. I paid literally the amount that you pay for an entire case just to have this, and I will never drink it. It's one of the more rare Mountain Dews, and I thought it was a pretty cool can because it's got a bunch of different stuff on there, like a cowboy octopus. So I don't know. Where's that one, Boogie? You don't got that one, do you?
Crazy pills! You can't even blame the gamers this time. It's Homeland Security! Holy shit! Now, of course, we saw the old guard from the first Gamergate dust off their pitchforks. We saw Mark Kern, you know, the guy who worked at Blizzard there, Grums on Twitter. Here in this interview with The Quartering, he went on to explain that basically the way the games are getting made is they're extremely expensive. Huge companies have to come up with the money, and one of the best ways to come up with the money is your CFO can get you tax breaks based on working with companies that do this forced diversity stuff to make sure you can fund your game. And oh, by the way, you remember I mentioned Elon Musk? Well, this is where Elon Musk signal boosted this by retweeting it simply by saying, wow. And this got it in front of 5.4 million eyes. So we're off to the races officially with this tweet. Then you got people like Matt Walsh.
This is where Tipster has one of his biggest problems with this whole thing, which is fucking hilarious, by the way. But yeah, just so you can see, lights are back down. I went back to normal. I can actually turn this back on. Well, there you go.
Chiming in and say what you will about Matt Walsh, but this is one take of the breakdown of, quote, wokeness, end quote, in gaming. But this also got signal boosted by Elon Musk, this time to 17.8 million viewers. So there's now way more people involved. And Elon Musk says video games need to get rid of the woke BS. Getting lectured with tedious propaganda is not why people play games. Now for my opinions. I was around for the last Gamergate. And if you guys remember, I was a bit of a notorious fence sitter during that period of time. I hated people being harassed online. I hated seeing people arguing online about this stuff. And I did feel like there was improvement the way that...
And this very much plays into Boogie's... By the way, that is like... He's got kind of a Garfield-esque look to him right there. But Boogie was kind of the Mr. Rogers, is kind of what he's colloquially referred to. The Mr. Rogers of content creators at the time. So I wouldn't be very much surprised at all that he was a fence sitter.
We as content creators and writers and gaming companies could do a better job of calling out corruption in the industry and improving the way that we reported video games. And I'll tell you where that got me. It got me utterly cucked by Anita Sarkeesian, chewed up by the left, and spit the fuck out. I'm not going to make that mistake again. I, like most sane people, just like fun video games. I don't care if the protagonists or the supporting characters are short or tall, fat or skinny, black or white, gay or straight, big tits, small tits, negative tits, 3 dicks, 10 dicks. I don't give a shit. I just play video games to have fun. I'm just here to have fun. Please make a fun video game. I also think diversity can be fun. It doesn't have to take away or detract from the video game. Give me cool character.
There's going to be a point that I know I'm automatically going to go off on Tipster on this, because the game he brings up as being diverse, and I'm going to lay into his ass on that, because guess what? My first fucking stream was on that game, not playing it, and there's a reason why.
Creators with crazy shit in it. Give me wild main characters. Give me storylines of things I would never experience in my own life, and let me experience them through somebody else's eyes. But it's got to be done well, and it's got to be done fun. When I look at the list of games that Sweet Baby has worked on, I don't find any of the diverse storylines in Spider-Man 2 to be very fun or well done. And we all know what we thought about Suicide Squad, which was just an abomination from the ground up.
I remember seeing like the rumblings of this going on, by the way, with the whole Suicide Squad thing. I didn't even realize that it was actually a game and not a series. I thought it was maybe like an animated series or something. Just because of the stuff that like I was seeing coming across my different like pages of like, oh, look at this from Suicide Squad. I thought either they were making an animated series or something like that. I really didn't genuinely know it was a game. So I was just like, are you really surprised? Like, I never looked at it because I was like, well, there's the whole Birds of Prey arc and all that, where they went to a more women centric, kind of women centric storyline, I guess I could say. And so I wasn't really surprised, but as things have picked up, and more recently, actually watching the Medicare stream, like I had no interest in really any of the Sweet Baby stuff. I had seen that getting brought up more and more frequently, and until he touched on it, I had no idea, honestly, what this is about. And I think he kind of covered it pretty well. I mean, I even got it in my Medicare video from a couple weeks ago. So just know that I'm not versed in this. I'm not versed in the Sweet Baby stuff as far as like looking into it. All I know is just that the broad brushstrokes of what this is about.
Personally think that curator list is a good thing, and I'm going to use it to make informed decisions moving forward. And as it stands right now, because of the behavior of the people that work at that company, plus their track record of the games they've worked on, I'm not inclined to buy anything from Sweet Baby Incorporated.
And I will also say that, like, I was watching Chud's stream earlier today, Chud Logic, and he had some video play that he was doing, that somebody had mentioned, hey, play this clip, and it was in reference to all this. It was for the Spider-Man 2 game that is on their list, and it was just a cutscene, a fight scene, and just the verbal, the dialogue, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. The dialogue that they had going back and forth in this whole thing just felt weird. Like, it felt unnatural. Like it was just this, it's without ruining anything. I don't know if I'm even ruining anything because I haven't played the fucking game. I don't have interest again. Just not something that I play. It's Mary Jane gets possessed by one of the symbiotes. Basically, like, if you know what oh my god, Venom is as a character. He's a symbiote is basically what he is, and he takes over the person and becomes Venom, the caricature. Well, there's a symbiote that takes over Mary Jane, and she becomes, I can't remember the name of the character. I'm not involved, as you can tell. Anyway, there's this whole scene where Spider-Man's fighting the symbiote version of Mary Jane, and the whole time she's just like berating him like a fucking 40-year married, like just old hag, like about like not being able to pay the mortgage, and like, it's just weird.
Does that make me some white male gamer harasser monster? Then put me on the guillotine list. I'll sign up right first. I'm ready to go. I've been ready to go since the first Gamergate. Put me out of my misery. You're around for the first Gamergate. You know the tools that you use, right? You've heard it all before. Everything is sexist. Everything is racist. Everything is harassment. Call it all out. Shoot everything down. If you don't like it, it's bad and it must be taken away as long as you're somebody that works at Sweet Baby Incorporated. If you're a consumer like you or me and you want to have a fun video game, well, then you're the asshole. Oh, and don't forget, if you're a white male gamer, especially an older one like me, it doesn't matter how leftist you are. It doesn't matter how much you support diversity. It doesn't matter how good of an ally you are. You are dog shit on the bottom of these people's heels. Don't you ever forget it. If you choose not to buy their shitty games, then you...
What is on his arm? I'm sorry, my ADD's maybe kicked in a little strong at this point, but...
You are the enemy. And if you inform other people about what games they've worked on, you might very well find your Steam account gone when you wake up in the morning. That's who you're up against. And I think it should be abundantly clear this is not another harassment campaign, and you or nobody should be harassing anybody. We've shown in this video that if you give these people enough time and enough time to speak and...
Is that a tattoo of a pizza that looks like Pac-Man with a piece missing? That's a very gamer tattoo.
A platform to do it on, they'll self-destruct on their own. You don't have to do anything but wait. Though I do recommend, if you're somebody who works for their money and has it in their pocket and only wants to spend it on fun video games instead of the games that these people have made, well, I think that's probably the right thing to do as well, even though they'll probably still call that harassment. At the end of the day, I set the last one out, and I felt like I was on the wrong side of history there, and it certainly didn't serve me well. So gamers, I've been granted a do-over here. I don't know why Homeland Security has decided that they are going to give me a chance to right this particular ship, but I'm going to take it, and I'm going to make sure that I'm on the right side.
Okay, so that's basically Boogie's video. I don't think anything he said in there was particularly inflammatory. Like, I don't think anything he said there was like, he just basically made a video informing us, especially his fan base, like people that are gamers that are probably a little more hardcore gamers. I mean, that's him, Wings, a bunch of people, even DSP, like they're part of that Let's Play generation even. And, you know, he's had his whole caricature that he did that was based on the overweight, angry gamer kind of thing. So he plays to the, he knows his audience kind of follows that trope. So our other favorite fat lolly loving fucking bathtub fucking hormone whore here, we're gonna watch his response, because he got his fucking panties in a twist over this shit. Let me fucking tell you. I'm not even gonna fucking bother. Just go to where you start fucking bitching.
Completely honest, although during the course of
Oh Christ, do I gotta turn your volume up? Yep.
this topic, I will
Whoa, that's too much, tipster.
kind of address some things that I might have missed in my previous coverage. But either way, you know, I have my thoughts on it, and I pretty much stand by the thoughts that I gave before in my previous video. I think this is a nothing burger. I think it's not all that big of a deal, and I think it's insane.
Yeah, let's go over Tipster's previous response. He basically said that he doesn't believe in Gamergate 2, and he thinks that everybody is blowing this way out of proportion. That's his whole fucking response. You can either listen to me say that in 15 seconds, or you can watch 45 minutes of soundboard and fat male estrogen go through and try and explain the same fucking thing to you while dancing around saying certain words that may inflame his audience.
To try and revive the ashes of Gamergate over this stupid shit. Yet here we are. But in any case, Boogie decided to chime in with his thoughts on Gamergate 2, and apparently he's decided that this time around he's going to join the fray.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
There we
Because
go.
last time, and I'm just
soundboard.
basically, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but he said something along the lines of he was a fence sitter last time, and, you know, he tried to, you know, pander to, like, leftists and stuff like that the last time around, and it didn't do him any good, so now he's going to be on the, quote, right side of history.
And we all know that means hard right, and that Boogie is now a Nazi. Take it away, Tipster.
That's what he says. If you don't believe me, we'll see it in a little bit.
See?
But in any case, he tweeted this out yesterday at the time of this recording. Hot take, video games are supposed to be fun. You know, I'd actually agree. Video games are supposed to be fun. And a lot of video games.
And his favorite video game is Donkey Kong. When you see that getting broke out, you know there's some hot controversy going on, because he needs to play his comfort game, and just because if he ate on stream, he'd probably be judged. Which, you know, there's also video proof of that, but we're not going to go there.
Are fun. There's a few stinkers that get released, or maybe games that aren't just my cup of tea, but for the most part, video games are fun, and they are meant to be fun. So, video games are supposed to be fun, not lectures about why being a white man is bad. Now, I have to be honest with you guys, chat. You know, I can't remember ever playing a video game that lectured me on how being a white man is bad. Can I get some ones in the chat if you've ever played a video game that lectured you on how being a white man is bad? Because I don't think I've ever played a game that does that. And it's looking like my chat agrees with me on that, because I'm not seeing any ones. I'm seeing a lot of twos and a lot of nope.
I'm seeing literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And someone that thinks they're funny. So 9.
Oops and stuff like that.
How many of those are your mods? Like, wait a minute here, buddy. Boy, your mod team came out to support you hard on that one.
But, like, I'm not seeing any ones. So, you know, something tells me that Boogie
If we're going from genuine audience, only 3 people have said 2.
might have pulled that out of his ass. But in any case, he says, watch this on my channel if you want a more nuanced take on this tweet. Gamergate 2
Oh, and there's one contrarian.
is officialed Sweet Baby Inc. versus Elon Musk. So let's go ahead. I have the video pulled up here. This is the video in question, and we're going to watch it, and we're going to kind of give our thoughts as we go along. So without further ado,
Play that shit!
Can we talk about the fact that you still use that fucking Leafy intro to play fucking videos? I thought, of all the fucking people with your bra burning and your alt-left extremism that you've gone into, you'd get rid of Leafy. Do we need to recount Leafy's history to you and why probably Leafy shouldn't be associated with that? I noticed that you don't even say his name anymore. So it's probably just you're hoping that the audience that you've now cultivated, well, that Keffels has cultivated for you, has no idea who the fuck Leafy is.
here we go, chat.
Well, gamers, grab your Mountain Dew.
Okay, looks like I need to boost the audio just a bit. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Here we go. That should be better.
Lock and load your controllers. Gamergate 2 has officially begun. And who's leading the clapback this time? Is it just some random neckbeard?
I'm going to let Tipster narrate his own fucking cringe on this, by the way. I mean, I can go into all the fucking Twitter back and forth shit too with this, but this guy just sucks enough and he points out all his own stuff. He really thinks that something he did early on in all of this is extremely fucking funny, and it's not. It's stupid. This man's a year older than me and probably about 40 years closer to dying.
On the internet like me? No, it's Elon freaking Musk. And you might be asking, who is Elon squaring off against? Is it some Anita Sarkeesian type? No. It's Homeland Security. I'm going to break this video down into two parts to get people caught up to speed as to exactly what's happening and why it's happening. And secondly, as an old head who lived through the first Gamergate and in fact made quite a few mistakes during the first Gamergate, I want to talk about my opinion on what's probably going to happen here. And
I remember for me, the first Gamergate, when that happened or whatever, like I remember hearing a lot of content creators talking about it and like, gaming journalism outlets talking about it and stuff, but I didn't really understand what it was at the time. It wasn't
Probably because you were going after Susie Liu at the time.
something until like later on that I kind of like looked into it and found out what it was. And I was like, oh man, this is like pretty shitty. On the surface, it sounds like, something that would be good. Ethics in games journalism. That's the way they framed it. Is we're just trying to have ethics in games journalism. And then when you actually see what it became, like this whole like harassment campaign against like women in gaming and stuff like that, it was a fucking like mess. So yeah, I'm kind of glad I had no involvement in that the first time around, because it just sounds like a fucking mess.
we should be doing. Now, all of this starts with a company that you probably never heard of, known as Sweet Baby Incorporated, which in their own words is a narrative
I'm watching his chat here, which is moving absolutely painfully slow. His chat moves slower than mine at points, and I've got like next to no viewership. Holy fuck, man.
development and consultation studio based in Montreal and working around the globe. Their mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video games industry. They aim to make more games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, and more inclusive for everyone. Spoiler alert, they mostly failed to do so. Now,
This is what's like crazy to me, right? Okay, so first of all, like if you're not familiar with Sweet Baby Inc., obviously he read their description of themselves off their website, but they're a consulting firm. Okay, like that's kind of what they are. Companies can hire them to kind of evaluate their current progress on a project, and they can kind of like give advice like any other consulting firm will do. They'll evaluate things, they'll give advice on how they think that they can improve the project from a narrative perspective or whatever. Like if you've ever basically had your employer, or maybe you're an employer yourself and you've worked with a consulting firm, like this is what they do. They'll consult whatever you're hiring them to look at. They'll give you advice, and it's up to you whether you take the advice or not. And this is like an optional thing. Okay. Like
Yeah, but let's dive into that a little bit deeper, which, Boogie actually rightfully did later in this video, and talk about the reason why they're doing a lot of this is financial incentive and the incentivization of they get monetary kickback in the form of tax breaks or whatever, because they undertook this.
you choose to hire.
By the way, why are we not fucking questioning the fact that Homeland Security, the people that are basically kind of like and I'm sorry if I'm going to really be a little off space here, The guys who are supposed to be the police against terrorists. Like, that's the way they were brought into existence back with 9/11 and shit. Why the fuck are they sitting there and the ones involved in this shit? Not a little fucking sus to anybody else here. Maybe I'm a little tinfoil hatted right now, but what the fuck?
For these firms to help you with these various.
Yeah, I still got to go through all the fucking checks I got to go through at a goddamn airport because Homeland Security helped. Well, I shouldn't say helped. I don't know enough to say this shit. I'm just going to talk out of my ass for a second. Okay? Homeland Security and TSA both came into existence because of the same shit going on in the world 20 something years ago, 22 years ago now, 23 years ago. And all of that shit came into existence. And you guys are still what can I say here? You guys are a fucking government organization that it's been proven that you guys aren't doing anything to help anybody. What's the last big bust that you've heard TSA make? Christ, there was the whole thing right after TSA started of the underwear guy getting on a fucking airplane and getting away with shit, okay? Like, it's just look into this shit. Like, I don't know. This more regulation makes things better is not my cup of tea. Let's just say that.
Different things, and in this case it's a consulting firm to help with, you know, narratives of video games and stuff like that, and like a lot of times they're helping with like diversity and inclusion in games, things of that nature. Obviously the anti-woke crowd not big fans of this stuff.
I'm really think it's hilarious that he's got people in the audience. God of War chat. Well, it's on their fucking website, you fucking idiot. This is on Sweet Baby's website. Of course, the giant promo for Meta PCs is a decent portion of the screen. Well, you know, the person that you watch takes up a decent portion of the screen. Even now. Let's see. I never watched Boogie, but this shit is so sad. Really? So, by the way, notice the Meta PCs is ad there, folks. They're the one notable gaming PC company that is openly owned and operated by chuds. Why does that seem like you're trying to call stuff out there? Why is your chat so fucking inflammatory, Tipster? Can we kind of ask you maybe this a little bit?
Me personally,
I don't like what your fucking chat's insinuating here.
I don't give a shit. As long as the game's fun to play, I don't really care if they, you know, do this kind of stuff during the creation of the game. As long as it's fun, like, I don't give a fuck.
Why do you care that they do this shit during the creation of the game? Just care that the game is fun. Who gives a fuck? It's fiction. It's not real. Just like the anime that you threw in the garbage, it's not fucking real, Boogie. Tipster. Jesus fucking Christ, bro.
But in any case, here's some of the games that they've worked on. Alan Wake, God of War, Ragnarok. You know, there's some pretty noteworthy games here. Very successful games as well. So when I see a lot of people talking about how like, oh, well, if Sweet Baby Inc. is involved in your game, like it's like doomed to fail. It's like, well, no, there's been several successful games.
It's also very, 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 very like ironic that you're not bringing up other games on this list that do have issue. Like I said, the whole Suicide Squad thing. You, as a self-proclaimed gaming streamer to some extent, because you say you're a game aficionado, look at your fucking background, Tipster. Just turn your little fat ass around. I shouldn't say little. And look, you can see that, maybe this guy likes video games, so he would maybe have some fucking input here. I think your fucking hat's too tight. Loosen your fucking hat.
Games that they've worked on, and it doesn't really hurt anything, so I don't get it, right? Like, it just seems kind of dumb. But anyway.
Here on their website, you'll see a list of games that they have worked on. And this is important later, so take a big note. But you'll see that some of these games have
What does this person say here in chat? They seem to think that Sweet Baby Inc. is some strict nun who slaps a desk with a ruler if there isn't some moral lesson slapped somewhere in the game. That statement becomes kind of interesting later when we talk about the video that Tipster gives some very, very fucking broad bullshit answers for.
Been too big to fail. God of War Ragnarok, sequel.
That sounds like a cope to me. Okay, if you're trying to sell me on this idea that this company, anything they touch turns to shit. Okay, if that's what you want to sell.
He literally never said that.
That they have worked on. And this is important later, so take a big note. But you'll see that some of these games have been too big to fail. God of War Ragnarok.
Okay. He says nothing about what Tipster is going to go off on a fucking side tangent here and bitch about.
Sequel.
That sounds like a cope to me. Okay, if you're trying to sell me on this idea that this company, anything they touch turns to shit. Okay, if that's what you want to sell me on, that they're bad for the games industry because everything they touch turns to shit, you can't tell me a cope like, oh, these games, they were too big to fail. Yeah, they were involved in this and they did some horrible things in these games, but they were too big to fail. Like,
okay, bro. You're really going to sit there and say that there isn't games that are put out there that shouldn't be put out there that are too big to fail? Like, honestly, really, man, we're really gonna lay in the fucking Starfield. You want to talk about a game that's too big to fail? So many people fucking hate that game. Still fucking out there, hasn't been pulled from the shelves. Games that, I don't know, were started by some other independent companies. I'm struggling to think because, again, I'm not a fucking gaming streamer, okay? But there's some games recently that have come out that were put out by companies that got such bad reviews that the company no longer exists. This happened, I know, twice in the last year. And like I said, I don't follow video games. It's just shit that I've seen in my news feed, and I read the stories about how this game came out and it was reviewed so horribly that the company was not able to make its debts and it failed. That wouldn't happen on something like Starfield. This is gonna piss me off. This is why I don't cover Tipster shit, but Jesus fucking Christ, I hate this fucking human being.
come on. All right, you're already arguing against your own point here, okay?
He's not arguing against his own point. He literally said nothing that you just took out of context and fucking brought into the conversation. He said nothing of that. He said, look at this list. This is the list, and some of these games are too big to fail. And you're saying that it's a cope and that none of these games are too big to fail. Fucking, you can literally be proven wrong with just Starfield being pointed out. I could probably go in and show you reviews on fucking God of War. I know that there's not great reviews on Spider-Man 2. I know that there's shit reviews on fucking Suicide Squad. Now, some of these other games, if they're brought forward by companies that, I don't know, aren't that big and don't have a budget to where if their game comes out and it's not successful, it could kill the company, I would say that the other games are too big to fail. Would you fucking not, Tipster?
To the original God of War, Alan Wake 2 sequel to the original Alan Wake, Spider-Man 2, too big to fail. And some other games on here are some real stinkers, like Suicide Squad, where they worked on the script writing, the banter, the cutscenes.
That's what's funny is like, so he's saying like Alan Wake 2, God of War, Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2. He's saying these games were too big to fail. But then he's talking about how like Suicide Squad was a stinker, which I hear it is a pretty bad game. I didn't play it myself. It wasn't something I was interested in.
What was that, Tipster?
To fail. But then he's talking about how like Suicide Squad was a stinker, which I hear it.
You say this awfully quietly for someone who's speaking very full-chested right before this.
It is a pretty bad game. I didn't play it myself. It wasn't something I was interested in.
Oh, okay,
but pretty much
cool.
everybody I know who's played it, they've said, yeah, it's a pretty bad game. But here's the thing. Why are these big name titles, Alan Wake 2, God of War, Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2, why were these ones, quote, too big to fail?
And it also, let's also take out of context. What did this company do on each of these games? If the company was intimately involved with the entire creator process, where it has been pointed out on some games. Again, this, I'm not looked into this, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but from what I'm understanding, there's stuff where they've been involved with like giving full consultations for the companies, saying how the company could be more diverse. They actually speak on this later on. And then there's stuff where they've also been incorporated into the game, making the game dialogue more diverse and everything else. And you know what? I know that from what Boogie says here, and I know from what I saw on my own timeline without ever looking at the game, because I thought it was an animated series, so it kind of feeds into the whole fact of the cutscenes. They worked on the cutscenes on that, and the dialogue and stuff from the cutscenes were bad. What if they were just brought in to consult on, I don't fucking know, the overall game, and then they maybe took their information and, you know, didn't apply it? Or like with Alan Wake, I mean, it's a sequel to a series. How much are you really going to change? Because you've already got dedicated characters and everything else. Same with God of War. Spider-Man, again, I heard pretty bad things about that game, just in general. So I almost would put the Spider-Man thing down with Suicide Squad. Maybe Suicide Squad was worse. These other games I've never even fucking heard of.
Fail. But another big title that was also very, very big. It was a big production, it had a big production house behind it. There was a lot of hype behind the game, and it ended up being a shitty game. Why wasn't Suicide Squad too big to fail? Because again,
you know what? We're going to do something really quick off screen. Just because. I'm going to say Sweet Baby Inc. Is there any way to see? Okay, on Alan Wake 2, they worked on character arc, voice, and sensitivity reading. On Spider-Man 2, they worked on story consultation. On God of War, they worked on narrative and character consultation with a focus on representation. That representation could have also been more women versus males than what previous. I don't know. So actually, it looks like if I go to their website, if I'm reading this correctly, I should be able to then just pull this up on screen, and you guys will actually see what I'm reading off here. What? Okay, that was weird. All right, so I'm guessing projects. Okay, yeah, this shows some of it. This shows their clients. Okay, where's the show me more? There we go. I want to get to this. Okay, here's something that you're kind of not seeing with either one of these videos. They're not really being fully representative. Happy St. Patrick's Day there, Teddy. Okay, so when you're on Sweet Baby Inc. here, right? Notice how like this little box keeps changing, right? When you hover over the games, it actually fucking tells you what they did. It says we worked on character arc, voice, sensitivity reading for Alan Wake 2. For this, they did narrative and character consultation with a focus on representation. Again, could be women in the game. This one, narrative direction, design, writing, world building. This one, proofreading and additional writing. Like, there's nearly no involvement by them here. Suicide Squad, script writing, banter cutscenes, barks, audio logs, etc. Okay. And story consultation on Spider-Man 2. So you can say that you had significantly more involvement here, than definitely different here. You could say that it's definitely different here. So their involvement in this consultation is vastly different from game to game. So you're being very disingenuous in what you're saying there, Tipster.
It's Cope, and I know what my chat wants, and I'm going to give it to him.
Oh, fuck me. We are not listening to that. Nope. Jesus fucking Christ. How long is this?
All kinds of different things, whether or not they recommend them or don't recommend them, the type of game they are, the type of DRM they use. And this user decided to create a list of games based on games that Sweet Baby Incorporated had worked on. That way, you know, if you've had a good experience with this company in the past, you could play that game based on that recommendation. And if you've had a bad experience in the past, you can choose to avoid that game. And this is
That's bullshit, okay? Like, the notion that someone would, oh, you know, I've played a Sweet Baby Inc. game and it was good, and so this list was created for people
He didn't say that. He said you could use the list in that manner.
who might want to play other Sweet Baby Inc. games. Come on, Boogie. We know what the reason was that this curated list was created.
Really, you know? Okay. You know what, Tipster? If you know so much, you should do a video on this and explain what exactly they created this list for.
It was purely created because, like, hey, you know, Sweet Baby Inc., they do woke games, and we don't want woke games, so here's a list of all the games.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to take this a step fucking farther because I dislike this person so much.
Takes a right hand from
You stop it. And because the stream quality is so fucking low, how the fuck do I even do that? I don't do this, so I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And maybe I need to go here. Search. I'm working on something. I apologize. Not intentionally being as quiet as I normally. Is there a way to like search this? Okay. I'm just gonna go off screen for a second. Man, I cannot type. All right. So he's saying that they don't want woke games. Okay, so Liz. Okay. This has a reason. Is so all this person has done here, I'll show it on stream. So all this person has done, so Sweet Baby Inc. detected, right? All they've done is they put not recommended. And then they put mentioned in Sweet Baby Inc.'s newsletter, on their website, updated post, and just where you can find information on it. Honestly, like, this is pretty fucking just straight up informative. Aside from the not recommended, like, that's the only thing you could even remotely say. But you honestly could. Like, this is a pretty non-biased, otherwise unbiased list. I mean, they could have gone with neutral and then put all this stuff, but whatever. Like, I don't. Oh man, I don't know. Anyway, let's go on with
that they make so you don't play them. Like, nobody's using this list to be like, yo, I had a positive experience with a Sweet Baby Inc. game, so I want to use this list to play other games of theirs. Come on.
Here to inform the consumer. Well, eventually, the Steam group caught the attention of Chris Kindred, who works for Sweet Baby Incorporated. And
the Undead Collective in the chat says it's the right-wing blacklist. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's what the intent of this list is. And I think it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, if somebody wants to create a list because they're like, oh man, woke video games, you should not play, whatever, make your little list. It's whatever.
Nobody said that, Tipster. You're the fucking one saying that. You fucking fat tub of fucking, your hat's too tight.
But like, even so, like it's I think we can agree.
And I know I said that already. Every time I want to criticize Tipster, I'm just going to criticize his hat being too tight.
Agree that it's kind of cringe though. Like, why do you care so much whether like a company worked on a game or if you don't want to play the game, then don't play the game. But
I don't know. Maybe let him go into his fucking video and explain why it fucking matters.
it just seems like
you've literally fucking force fed and like amped up your entire audience and everything else, all 5 people, just based on nothing. All he said was, hey, here's Sweet Baby Inc. Here's what they do. Here's this other list that could be used in this manner, but basically is just saying, here's all the Sweet Baby Inc. games, and giving, and as you could fucking see with your own fucking eye holes, what he was saying.
Lame to make such a big deal about, like, how is this any different than heels versus babyface getting worked up over like pronouns in a game? You know, this is just the next level extension of that. Anyway,
you're the only one getting worked up, Tipster, with your fucking tight hat.
Tweeted out saying that there was a harassment group dedicated to harassing Sweet Baby Incorporated.
Maybe this is why he's getting upset, is because they're being called a harassment group when all they did was, it was one fucking person, and all they did was put not recommended and the link to the information that you could fucking find related to that game,
and that it obviously doesn't adhere to Steam's policies and code of conduct. And she encouraged people to report the hell out of the group in the hopes that it would get taken down. And while you're at
now, I will say this, okay? I actually do have some criticism to give the folks over at Sweet Baby Inc. This right here, basically like signal boosting, like a tweet like, hey, go and flag this shit or whatever. Like, this was really dumb, okay? Like,
really dumb. Hey, Tipster, would you be okay if some alt-right group, because since you're so hardcore left now, some alt-right group came and they said, you know what, we found Tipster's fucking Steam account and we're gonna flag it until it gets taken off, and it's propagating, this man propagates too much alt-left bullshit into the fucking world, and we don't like him, and he's harassing with his videos and his content and picking on people on the right, and look at all the shit he says about the right, and we need to get rid of this guy, and they try to get your account taken down. I think you'd be a little more than just, you know, thinking it's a bad look, Tipster.
If you're dealing with legitimate harassment, like, you know, doxings and swatting threats and, you know, like actual forms of harassment, like, just report that shit and don't say anything about it. Just quietly to yourself. If you are facing legitimate forms of harassment, report it and then just move on. But like, anytime that you do these like mass report, like, hey, you know what? Can you guys all report like this page for me?
Why aren't you playing the coping and seething fucking bit for yourself right now?
You know, this massive following that I have. Can you go and report these people because they're like harassing me or whatever? Like, you're just asking for trouble at that point. Okay. We've seen what happened during the first round of Gamergate and people doing posts like this. And even if you feel justified or not in doing it, it's just, you're just, we know how these people operate. when they see these mass flagging campaigns, they're going to attack people who do that. So just don't do that. Just if somebody's legitimately harassing you, just silently report it and move on. Okay? That's all I have to say about that. This was kind of dumb.
Why don't you report this guy, the guy who created this consumer advocacy list, report his account that he spent all his time and all this money on to see if you can get that taken away from him as well. And again, because he was informing consumers. Now, you remember earlier when
Look at your fucking audience again. Surely you would speak to an industry contact in Steam over this. No, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You don't need to talk to any fucking buddy. What has this done so awfully to you? Nothing. This company is still existing. They're not calling for the company to be taken down. They're just saying, hey, here's the shit that they worked on. This is like not even a form of protest. Like, this is just a look, if you don't like this company, don't play these games. You could say it's a consumer watch list. You could say it's a fucking list of games that, you know, you could then take, like he's saying, and you could then, on your side that wants to support all this shit, say, here's all the fucking games we should play because we should support these companies. Instead of sitting there, like, just looking at the shit that was pulled with Hogwarts Legacy. Because you guys were so disingenuous over that because one person was involved with that you disagreed with. And we'll go as far as calling J.K. Rowling a TERF, okay? We'll call her a TERF just to satiate your hunger on that one, okay? Jesus fucking Christ. You guys went on for months about banning that. I'm seeing shit coming around now about how you want to protest and ban and get rid of and have fucking petitions and all sorts of shit for the fact that they might make a second one. You do realize, like, any of these companies, like, we're literally fucking seeing right now where these companies are working on this shit. You know, they could have consulting companies, they could have people that work at the companies and the games design and all that, that can be gay, lesbian, trans, whatever, or have an immediate person that they're supporting that is like that they have no interaction with J.K. Rowling, and you're sitting there and you're going to take away the food off of their plate, the money out of their table, because their livelihood is tied to that company being successful. Because if the game goes down, guess what? They lose their fucking job. And now they got to go find fucking work elsewhere. Some short-term thinking bullshit. Like, because you don't like one person, you guys went after all this. Your fucking endearment of Keffels over there went really fucking hard on all that shit. I remember it.
we were taking a look at the Sweet Baby website, I pointed out that they list the games that they have worked on right on their website. So if they're doing that themselves, are they harassing themselves? How could it possibly be harassment to copy paste this list of games that they've posted themselves?
I love this. If I ever see anyone in this community harassing anyone, you're out. Well, time to get rid of Tipster. Do we want to go through all the fucking tweets that he just did? Fucking oust his ass. I am going to fucking, while we're doing that, because I know I got it fucking saved. I know I got it saved. I know I do. We'll let this play.
Over on Steam. That it's nonsensical, and it's definitely not worth somebody losing their Steam account over. Now, obviously, gamers didn't like that, but you know who else didn't? Twitter. Twitter fed Chris a 6-day ban for targeted harassment. The thing that Chris was actually doing, the thing that, you know, she was accusing others of doing and decided to do herself. Meanwhile, we have...
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking people to mass report shit like that, like you're using a large platform to do something like that, like, yeah, that can be interpreted as a form of targeted
Oh, I've got you, buddy. We're going to pull this up on stream, too.
harassment. So again, my criticism to Sweet Baby Inc., that wasn't smart. They shouldn't have done that.
Lego Butts, who I presume you remember from the first Gamergate. If you
Even from a public facing perspective, like a PR sort of thing, it's just not a good look, and it's just going to result in people feeling like they have more justification to harass you. Just don't do it.
Oh god, I'm peeking really badly. Oh, I'm sorry if I've blown people's ears out. I did not realize. I should have realized going from the other videos. Here, let me fix that really quick. Okay, or not. Let's try that again. Filters. There we go. Let's play this.
Don't do this. Don't do these massive call outs for.
Yeah, we're still peeking a bit. Take her down a little bit more.
Mass flagging campaigns of this nature. Just don't.
That's
do
a
it.
little better.
around for it, pointing out that Steam doesn't, force people to prove that a game.
Apology, I didn't realize that 10 minutes in, well, 15 minutes into a freaking video that I'm blasting all your ear holes out of your minds. I'm going to speed this up slightly.
Has been worked on by Sweet Baby Incorporated, and that might be why it should get taken down. This got community noted by the fact that, number one, Lego Butts works for Sweet Baby Incorporated and probably shouldn't be trusted on this particular topic, and that secondly, the curator literally uses that games list that they have on their website that I showed you early to, prove that these are the games they've worked on. And allow me to interject some editorial here. Why are these guys afraid of people listing the games they've worked on to begin with? If you've done good work, and you're proud of the work you've done, someone listing all the games you've worked on should be doing you a favor, right? Unless, of course, the work you're putting in is bad and it's ruined some of the...
I mean, like to some extent, like you have people who will see lists like this and they'll use them as an excuse to target game developers who have worked with Sweet Baby Inc. Target, Sweet Baby Inc. directly. They'll do things like,
But you're calling that out before it's even attempted to happen. Like, if you see that starting to happen, it's maybe one thing to sit there and say, look, this list is the antithesis of this issue going on. But like to sit there and try and say that you're calling this out preemptively,
review bomb any games that they've worked on and stuff like that. And these are things that can be genuinely harmful to the developers and stuff like that. So I can understand why they would be upset about this curated list that, as somebody in the chat mentioned earlier, it's basically a blacklist by right-wing gamers and stuff like that. So
Jesus fucking Christ, you are escalating this fucking quick, man. You really are pushing this fucking narrative fucking quick. It's a blacklist. Again, nothing of that is said. Nothing. All it says is don't recommend, and it gives a link to the fucking page with the information regarding that game. Nothing negative is said on that. Nothing. Honestly, it is the most fucking neutral fucking take. Like I said, aside from putting not recommended, which they could have put neutral. I don't know how the whole fucking rating system works. I just know I've seen neutral and mostly positive, mostly negative, and shit like that on stuff. But you're really looking at your chat trying to see if they're really supporting you on this, aren't you?
I can understand why they would be upset about this list. I still don't think they should have done the whole call out for like a mass report thing or whatever. That definitely shouldn't have happened.
No, again, shut the fuck up. It is one guy speaking up against a company. Is the company really that fucking fragile that they can't take one guy? They've drawn more attention to this than anybody because of their actions. But it's 100%. I will give you were right. It is 100% Streisand effect.
I understand why.
And for those that don't know what the Streisand effect stuff is, basically Barbara Streisand had her house on the internet, found out it was posted on the internet, tried to get it taken off the internet. The harder she tried to get it taken off the internet, the more places it was popping up. Hence, it's now called the Streisand effect.
They would be frustrated about the existence of this list.
Games that could have been better, then you probably don't want people curating that list. I think they know what they're doing. Now, due to the Streisand effect, all of this caused that curated list to bloom over 100K, now 200.
Boogie even says it's part of the Streisand effect. But this clip is literally, I would love to see if there's, it's the GDC, AAA build connections. We're going to see how hard it is to find this. Build connections in Adobe Suite. Adobe Suite Baby Inc. And then videos. Oh, is this the entire video right here? No, that's harmful opinions. I know that's got an opinion to it. Because I watch his content. Sweet Baby Inc. continues. So it's GDC. So it's GDC, let's see, 2024. Oh, well, here's a definite pro. Game in the origin. GDC. Let's see. Sorry, I'm still looking now. I want to see. I want to see if I can find this because we're going to find out Tipster put absolutely no effort into this. And so I want to put some effort into this because I'm not going to criticize someone if I'm not willing to do the work myself. I have a feeling that I'm close to this. CEO. Okay, let's see this. So there's this is 4 days ago. This is like a week ago. Oh. Oh, Harmful Opinions did actually watch the whole thing. Let's go videos. So Harmful Opinions. So even if he disliked Harmful Opinions, he did actually watch it. Okay, so we'll do this. So let's see.
And I spent like actual.
Let's see if he actually has it in the description. Put me through. Does he have the name? Now You See Me. Representation as innovation. Bet you I could find that real quick. "29-minute speech. How hard was that, Tipster? How hard was that? I did that on stream, buddy. That was something that you were unwilling to fucking do, as we're about to find out. So let's hear it from you.
50K people on that list supporting this cause. And as people dug around, they found this, the co-founder of Sweet Baby Incorporated, basically saying that they bully people into putting this type of stuff in their games. Here, I'll let her speak for herself.
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, Go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
I don't think it's ever a good look to say that your company is based on.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know what the context is of that clip. I don't know if anybody has found like the full clip, because that clip's been made.
Right here, Tipster. There's your full clip, buddy. Right here. That's her. There you go.
Had that opportunity, but instead,
That's her speaking. This is really real. It took me under 20 minutes. Fuck. I think it took me under 10 minutes. Okay. So what do you want? What context do you want? Do you want me to try and find the portion where she's talking about the AAA gaming? What do you want here, Tipster? It took me so long to find this, and there's so much effort is going to go into this. It's, you know, a 30-minute. Look, it's right here, right at the end of the video. I even found it for you. So here, okay. Here's the previous slide.
working in AAA, which I did for many, many years.
Okay, that's even where the video begins. Let's go back a little more.
Because usually, like, all that means, as it did in the dating example, is that you're
We're
aiming
gonna
at your
watch
core
this.
demographic, and you're probably invisibly leaning towards the dominant societal voice, even if you don't realize it. And if you're in development and you are part of like that dominant voice, you're like a cis hetero white dude or just adjacent to that.
Gee, Tipster, could they call it out any more black and white?
And if you're in development and you are part of like that dominant voice, you're like a cis hetero white dude or just adjacent to that, do not wait until the end to call your consultants. Bring them in at the beginning, and instead of asking them, hey, is this very racist thing we did very racist? Or is this deeply offensive thing we did deeply offensive? Are you hurt by it? Ask them what they want to see. Like, ask them what would thrill them, what would bring them joy. And if you have a team lead, put that request to them very, very early. If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want. Because they have to consider, like, I say that a lot as a joke, but it's actually very, very true, because if you start to consider the people who are player and audience facing and who have to deal with mitigating harm and with keeping the sentiment around their game and their project positive, there's like a genuine value that you can impress upon them with both ethically and financially. You can say this is important. And it's also a valid discussion to have, because if you're working with a very thin narrative budget and you work in AAA, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised or dismayed by the amount of money that marketing can give you. If you're not in AAA, and if you're indie or if you're freelance and you're building a budget because you still have to and you're writing up a pitch, I would say that you should consider adding the necessary funds for representation into your scope as you would any other item. When we budget as Sweet Baby Inc., we actually add about 10% of our entire narrative development budget to hire storytellers and collaborators who can kind of help us see where our blind spots are. And if they aren't in this industry, because a lot of the time people are like, uh-oh, they're not in this industry, we can actually bring them in to help as consultants for areas where, like, you know, they can start learning, we can help them learn, they can help us learn. So
Is this enough context for you yet, Tipster?
even if it's just a small part of a project, all parties are going to gain something, and you're going to get a perspective you really need. Next, if you're in communications or you're part of that like scared marketing group, assume your players want new stories and treat representation as a facet of innovation, as a selling point. Leverage your game's ability to explore new perspectives. And there's always going to be a positive impact in assuming this. Finally, if you're a studio building a team, hire diverse creators and pay them. Please pay them. And don't stop there either. Don't just go into creatives and with, you know, narrative and stuff. Make it across your team, because there are a lot of unconscious biases in other areas. But always consider the ways that you can support all of your people. So, like, don't just put, we need diverse input. Explain how you're going to support them once they're there. Because none of what we're doing is about ticking boxes or about a veneer of wokeness. We actually have to care about making this stuff. So to close,
I think that's enough context, saying she's closing her fucking full 27 prior minute speech for the next 2 minutes. So now I'm going to go
Making the rounds.
and go back here, since you couldn't be fucking bothered to do this, but you want to be an opinionated piece of shit about it.
that list. I think they know what they're doing. Now, due to the Streisand effect, all of this caused that curated list to bloom over 100K, now 250K people on that list supporting this cause. And as people dug around, they found this, the co-founder of Sweet Baby Incorporated, basically saying that they bully people into putting this type of stuff in their games. Here, I'll let her speak for herself.
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
I don't think it's ever a good look to say that your company is based.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know what the context is of that clip. I don't know if anybody has found like the full clip, because that clip's been making the rounds, and yeah, admittedly, in its current context.
Too bad you block people that have been able to find the full fucking clip in under 10 minutes. Then that could probably show you the full context that shows that it's even fucking creepier with the shit that's added before. That actually makes it sound like they're really sitting there saying that if you're a cis white male, make sure you're the one to raise the fucking flag for your fucking company to go get more inclusive support from their company and bring them in to consult early. Otherwise, you need to go to the marketing team and scare the shit out of them. Now we got the full context, you motherfucking pet. Loosen your fucking hat.
Context, it does look pretty bad for sure. But if anybody has like the full clip of that, I'd be more than happy to take a look at it. I don't know what the context is, so I can't really comment too much on that.
On wielding cancel culture to get big companies to pay you, but if at least you're providing a valuable service, I guess that might be at least conceivable. But if you wonder what kind of service Sweet Baby Incorporated is trying to provide, well, look at these tweets from Felix, who we spoke about earlier. Pay me to shoot down your white male lead game ideas. I had a nightmare that I was a white male gamer. Yeah, it's pretty abundantly clear that they're not there to add diversity to games. They're there to push white people and white males.
I see somebody in the chat says that's just normal corporation stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty normal for like, you know, various different corporations to hire like consultancy firms and stuff like that to evaluate various different things.
Yes, it is normal to hire consultants to do work. It is not normal to do it the way that they're pushing it forward.
That's why I don't think this like Sweet Baby thing is like as big of an issue. I do think it was a bad idea for them to try and mass report the Steam user and the Steam curated list.
So fucking brave, Tipster. Brave takes.
But as far as like what the company's actually doing, like I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Out. Then you got the old media stepping in. This is game developer, writer by the name of Brian Francis, who says Steam and Discord are being used as a home base for hateful reactionaries to single out and harass game developers. Why are Valve and Discord permitting harassment against Sweet Baby Incorporated? And again, the harassment Bryant is so upset about is that someone copied and pasted from the Sweet Baby Incorporated website the list of games they've worked on so that you can...
You were talking about the woman talking at the marketing thing? Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I've tried to find like the full clip. I haven't had any luck finding the full clip, unfortunately. So I don't know what the full context is of that. It's very obvious that it was clip chimped in some way. But I would like to...
It absolutely was not clip chimped in any way. Not at all. Nope. You've seen the full context here, people. You saw quite a bit previous and quite a bit post, and I've now found the video, shown you the fucking title of the video. You can go out there and listen to it on your own. I'll probably listen to this on my own just because this is infuriating that this man sits there and acts like he's doing some justice to the fucking world and couldn't even fucking be bothered with a less than 10 minutes it took me to not only find the portion of the video where they're talking about it, go to just before it, play the whole fucking thing, and you see
the full clip to have like a better idea of like what was actually being said there. If I had to guess, it was probably something along the lines of like, hey, say you're working for a developer studio and they do something along the lines of like really badly represent a minority group in games, for example, and you're like trying to like express your concerns to your higher ups, like, hey, this is actually pretty bad and this can get our company a lot of pushback if we don't fix this.
No, they actually said hire us beforehand so that doesn't even happen. And if you're a white cisgender male, do it early because it makes you look better. That's honestly the way I fucking took what she just said.
Why don't we fix this? And if they don't take your concerns seriously, then basically go to the next level up and say, hey,
marketing's not the next level up. Marketing is its own fucking department in any fucking business. If you had any fucking business sense, you would know that it's completely fucking different. Marketing is different than, say, I don't know, development. Development and marketing don't acquiesce together. They don't flow together. They're all just a branch under the company. Okay, so the development team probably is not going to be talking to the marketing team. The marketing team might talk to the development team just to ask them for bits and pieces to help them with marketing. But this is saying that, like, if you're a developer and you go to, and specifically if you're a cis white male developer and you want us brought in and nobody's listening to you, then go and take your marketing team out to lunch and threaten them. This just seems, it's the same fucking thing they're doing to this individual that you think is bad. They're just saying to do it on a corporate level, but it's okay there.
You know, my supervisor's not taking my concern seriously on this. We might want to hire a consultancy firm to take a look at this and actually fix basically the issues that they have here. I would guess that was probably something along the lines of what was being said, but obviously I haven't seen the full clip, so that's just speculation on my point.
Make an informed decision whether or not you want to support the games that they've worked on. I mean, I guess in Brian's article, he does point out that at one point there was a forum on that curation group where a lot of people, a handful of bad actors, said some crazy shit, but the curator just got rid of those forums. So there's nothing that could possibly be harassment.
I mean, that's good if he got rid of the forums, but at the same time, that's a clear example of how people were using that, you know, curated list as a tool for harassment. Like they were using it as a...
No, it's not anything. It's not anything. They existed as separate entities because they still exist as separate entities. One no longer exists, and the other is still in existence.
Jumping off point to harass game developers, Sweet Baby Inc., etc.
And you have no proof that they harassed anybody. Now you're escalating it, saying that they harassed them. There's no fucking proof of that. Show me the proof. I could be bothered to find the fucking video. I'm sure I could probably be bothered to figure out maybe if there's harassment of them. I'm sure there's a lot more fucking people interested in harassing them now that they've done the shit that they've done. So it's going to be a little bit hard to disseminate between at that point in history without using like maybe a Wayback Machine, but it's whoever took the snapshots through Internet Archive or Wayback Machine to even make it last. And who knows if that actually happened. So there's a lot of ambiguity to all of this.
Et cetera.
Page, right? It's just a list of games. But here's where things get entirely off the rails. This group named Take This, which, after getting looked into, found out they were being funded by Homeland Security here in the United States, posted an article called Responding to Gamergate 2, saying Gamergate 2 is the latest targeting harassment campaign within the games industry, and it's aimed at Sweet Baby Incorporated, that all scholars and journalists and game developers must do everything they can to shut down Gamergate 2 and denounce the gamers who don't want to buy games that have been worked on by this company. So there's your smoking gun. The Department of Homeland Security funding an organization that just
what do you got to say to
this,
hipster?
Gamergate 2 is coming, and we need to make sure that every gamer knows they have to buy the games worked on by Sweet Baby Incorporated, or else they're the bad guys. Am I taking crazy pills? You can't even blame the gamers this time.
Nobody's even saying, like, if you don't want to play a game made by Sweet Baby Inc., like, it's kind of cringe, but, like, whatever, just don't play the fucking game. Nobody gives a shit if you choose to buy a game or not, right? The issue...
Tipster, way to fucking avoid the whole fact that you got the goddamn government involved in giving kickbacks and everything for this, so it's kind of being forced no matter whether you want it or not. So then you have to go out there and find the information, but then you're saying it's harassment, the fact that this guy made the list to give you the fucking information in one easy accessible spot.
Issue here is that people are making a big deal about, you know, games going woke or whatever. It's like, oh man, this game features a black main protagonist, or this game features gay characters, or this game features trans characters. It's like, does that really ruin the game for you? We saw a perfect example of this last year with the infamous fucking pronouns meme. Fucking pronouns! Somebody got so ass mad about a game just having a pronoun selection option, okay? It's fucking cringe. In no way, shape, or form do these things make a game
I will give you that having pronouns and shit like that, I could give a shit less about.
bad. Now, I will say that sometimes you will have games that will try to pander to a specific section of the audience, and they'll force this shit in a way that, yeah, it does negatively impact the game. But I would go as far as to say 90% of all games that feature some kind of, you know, woke element within them, they're fine. They're perfectly fine, and it doesn't hurt the game at all.
It's Homeland Security! Holy shit! Now, of course, we saw the old guard from the first Gamergate dust off their pitchforks. We saw Mark Kern, you know, the guy who worked at Blizzard there, Grums on Twitter. Here in this interview with The Quartering, he went on to explain that basically the way the games are getting made is they're extremely expensive. Huge companies have to come up with the money, and one of the best ways to come up with the money is your CFO can get you tax breaks based on working with companies that do this forced diversity stuff to make sure you can fund your game. And oh, by the way, you remember I mentioned...
I mean, a lot of companies get a lot of tax breaks for a lot of different things. Some companies, depending on like where the company is based, you might get a tax break based off of the fact that like if you do like a formal like a sexual harassment training at your workplace, if you get your there's various different things that companies can do to get like these tax breaks. Like this is not some like nefarious thing or whatever. It's just,
Oh my god, you are so disingenuous, you fat piece of fucking garbage. Let's go back and listen to what Boogie says.
get a lot of tax breaks.
Here in this interview with The Quartering, he went on to explain that basically the way the games are getting made is they're extremely expensive. Huge companies have to come up with the money, and one of the best ways to come up with the money is your CFO can get you tax breaks based on working with companies that do this forced diversity stuff to make sure you can fund your game.
Okay, and what are they saying here? Yeah, it's kind of hard to read with your fucking fat ass chat in the way. The games are hugely expensive. They're still upwards. I know, 250, sometimes $600 million. And blah, blah, blah. Do we get a dollar figure for anything? Because the returns on investment are so poor, so it's drying up. Unfortunately, and so enticing. Course correct. It's shut down. I'm trying to see if CFO to get you tax breaks to get you. Into studios and regions. They were talking about bailout money from banks. And this is basically them saying instead of borrowing the finances up front, what they're trying to do is they're having their CFOs find cheap ways, cheap meaning low interest or maybe not even necessarily to pay back the principal on the loan. And they have done it with various different means. This is just a new means to them. So they have to follow this compliance and they get the kickback. And I'm sure the kickback is significant enough, not like a sexual harassment training like fucking Fathead over here says. But they're talking about like significant amounts of money here because they're talking about what was it, the financial crisis where they got bailout money, COVID money, and all like PPP money, and I'm sure a lot of different things. And they're just basically saying that this is a cheap revenue source because other revenue sources are drying up. They're not able to use them. So yes, you're correct in that. Yep, it's happened before. Yep, they're doing it again. But you're just so fucking disingenuous. And the fact that you've glossed over the whole government part.
And oh, by the way, you remember I mentioned...
I mean, a lot of companies get a lot of tax breaks for a lot of different things. Some companies, depending on like where the company is based, you might get a tax break based off of the fact that like if you do like a formal like a sexual harassment training at your workplace, if you get your there's various different things that companies can do to get like these tax breaks. Like this is not some like nefarious thing or whatever. It's a pretty common thing in business here in the United States.
Elon Musk. Well, this is where
it is kind of nefarious though that the I don't know, the company is being backed by the Department of Homeland Security.
Elon Musk signal boosted this by retweeting it simply by saying wow. And this got it in front of 5.4.
I don't know why so many people put so much stock in anything like Elon Musk has to say, especially after that insane interview where he looked like he was just like hyped up on some kind of like he was.
He literally doesn't say it. He's just saying it's signal boosted, just like they signal boosted their posts trying to go after the one fucking guy that made a list of their games.
Intoxicated in some way the whole time. Like, do you guys remember that interview where he wasn't
Oh,
speaking?
Jesus fucking Christ. You're going to go off on a tangent of I hate Elon now.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Anita, and I do actually think that she was unnecessarily rude to Boogie at VidCon. But like, is that what this is about? Anita Sarkeesian was mean to you at VidCon, and now you want to side with like the worst people on the fucking internet and join Gamergate version 2.0?
The worst people on the internet. The worst people on the internet. You know, unfortunately, guys, I'm getting pretty fucking tired, so we're going to wrap this up pretty quick here. But I kind of want to jump ahead.
Monster? Then put me on the guillotine list. I'll sign up right first. I'm ready to go.
What the fuck? Oh my god. What the fuck?
I've been ready to go since the first Gamergate. Put me out of my misery. You're around for the first Gamergate.
Let's jump
I won that
forward.
after all.
This is where Tipster thinks he gets really fucking funny. And then I want to blow his fucking spot up at the end of this, so.
Jeez. Anyway. So that's the video that kind of like sparked like this conversation that happened on Twitter in regards to
Conversation. This guy has the balls to call it a conversation.
Boogie's interesting take on all of this. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at some of the responses, because initially, like, the tweet where he announced the video was the stupid one. Hot take: video games are supposed to be fun, not lectures about being white, being how being a white man is bad. And so a lot of people started asking, where's the games that do that? Xanderhall chimed in, name one mainstream game that lectures you on why white people are bad. We have the Surfs TV asking pretty much the same question. Which video games lecture you about being a white man being bad? We have this person, Mighty Keith. This is 100% a genuine question from me. What video game does this? Okay. Even I chimed in to ask the question. I'd be interested in knowing which video games lecture players on how being a white man is bad. Can you
It's kind of interesting too, by the way, there, Tipster, wrong fat person. Tipster, it's kind of funny and interesting how you didn't read any of the responses underneath that, where like I've just seen 2 games now listed under there, but I'm not pausing to fucking read it because I just want to be done with your fucking content.
suggest any, Boogie? Because I haven't seen any. Boogie decided to respond to a lot of these questions by stating stuff like this. Jesus Christ, is it really this easy to upset that beehive? Me, I am a white man and I like video games. The internet. That's not what you said.
It's no more disingenuous than the shit you've said, Tipster.
Made a ridiculous fucking claim about how video games are lecturing white men about how they're bad, right? And then when people asked you, can you show us an example of a game that does that? You couldn't give us one. He then goes on to cope even more. It's wild getting called alt-right at the moment because I said video games shouldn't shame white men. I literally voted Democrat since I was able to vote. Donated yearly to the Human Rights Campaign, raised money for trans charities, helped start up a game store that was an LGBTQ plus safe zone in Arkansas, was in an interracial relation. Oh my God, this last one's got to be the funniest one. Was in an interracial relationship in the South in the 80s and 90s and got my ass beat for simply loving a black woman. My only offense is being a white man who likes video games, and I got lit the fuck up by these people. Like, he's going down like the checklist about like, hey, I can't be a horrible person because I've done all of these things that make me not a horrible person. Yeah, exactly. Transgirl Jade. He literally, I have a black friend. He's literally, I have a black friending us. Yeah, that's literally it, right? Jeez. Somebody else quote tweeted him saying, motherfuckers really try to throw stones and hide their hands. Yeah, true. Then we have this. What is this? This fuzzy person says, yeah, this is a point, though I think there are plenty of people who would still crap on him. But to start a few examples would go a long ways. Basically asking for more examples of games like that. Whether I make a list of video games with forced diversity and bullshit or not, it doesn't change the simple fact that video games are supposed to be fun, not lectures. Again, not giving any examples and refusing to give any because he...
Jesus. How fucking stupid can you be, Tipster? Really, like, how fucking stupid can you be, man? What is this whole video over? Is it not over a list of titles with forced diversity in them?
Knows he's full of shit. Like, you might find some obscure indie game that does something like that, but I guarantee you, you will not find a mainstream title who does that, because
I bet you if I knew games well enough, I probably could list a couple, seeing, you know, I found the video that doesn't fucking exist.
let's be real, okay? Let's not make this a woke thing or whatever. Let's just be real for a second. Video game companies make games to make money. Why would they try and intentionally alienate a portion of their audience to make money? It's not going to work. If you insult
This is a whole big ass straw man argument, because I will literally just point and say, look at what happened with Hogwarts Legacy. Tell me there wasn't a lot of blowback on that, and potentially a lot of lost sales from that.
a portion of their audience, your audience, they're not going to buy the game and they're not going to play it. All right. So again, you might find some little niche indie game that does something like that, but you're never going to find a mainstream title that does that. It's counterproductive to their end goal, which is making money. There are a lot of white men who play video games. Okay. They're not going to alienate that crowd.
No, but not wanting people to play a game because you feel it's something, whether it be bigoted, racist, transphobic, xenophobic, whatever buzz term is applied to it. Maybe it's misogynistic, who knows? But I'm sure if you wanted to apply those words to it, you could probably sway a pretty large demographic of people to not buy it. So is that demographic that is swayed significant enough to make a game still be successful or not successful? Maybe they don't meet the budget that they planned because of that sway. Like, it works both ways, Tipster. Are you really that obtuse you cannot fucking understand?
Jake, I think video games are supposed to be fun and not lectures about much of anything, really. The fact you are having trouble agreeing with that is wild to me. It's not so much that, it's that you've chosen to align yourself with genuinely horrible people, Boogie.
Who has he aligned himself with? Nobody. He's aligned himself with, he's literally standing on his own 2 feet saying, I don't agree with this. And then showing people that signal boosted it, showing the full context of the situation. He has been more genuine and more open about this than you have. He's been a little absurdist at points. You could say he's a little tinfoil hatty when it comes to the fucking whole Homeland Security portion of it, but Jesus, man.
Do you not realize the kind of people who you're aligning yourself with at the moment? They're not good people.
That is just such a inflammatory statement, because it just insinuates that the people that you're aligning yourself with, Tipster, are the best of people, right? They do no wrong, even though you just literally said earlier that it was wrong what they did to the one person that made the list.
I actually chimed in on this because I thought the comments he made, especially in his video,
Because the lolly argument's dried up, I gotta chime in on this. I need another reason to break out Donkey Kong.
were fucking insane. This is what I had to say. Boogie 2988 becoming the quartering ripoff wasn't on my 2024 bingo card, but it should have been. He's lost a lot of relevancy in recent years, and his bank account is looking rather empty these days. And being the lovable Mr. Rogers,
You have absolutely no introspective on his bank account or anything else going on. You can say you do, but even any information you're going to point to recently would contradict it. Did you get paid $50,000 by Keemstar?
character of the internet, wasn't working anymore because people got a chance to see behind the curtain. I wrote current, I meant curtain. God damn it. Don't you hate that when you see like a tweet that you made and it's like beyond the like time frame where you could edit it? God damn it. Fucking typo. Anyway. People got a chance to see behind the curtain and get a good look at what the real Boogie is like, and surprise, surprise, they didn't like it. Not to mention the fact that the anti-woke grift is extremely profitable, and I can imagine seeing folks like The Quartering and Melanie Mack rake in mountains of cash on that grift looks rather appealing to a has-been with a career on life support whose only current claim to fame is being the co-host of a podcast hosted by Keemstar, where you are literally there just for the purpose of being mocked by everyone on the internet for being a lol cow.
I just want to see something really quick, just out of Genuine fucking curiosity. We're going to check one more thing.
There, just for the purpose.
That's you. So...
Well, gamers.
That video you're criticizing? 2 days ago, 16,000 views. 1.3 thousand upvotes. Roughly about... It kind of floats around 10%. Seems to be a pretty good number. So views to upvotes, like if you get 10% of your audience likes it, I think you're doing pretty good. Your video, 16 hours ago at this point, okay? 2,300 views, 146. You're running about 5%. People agreeing with you versus the 10% just shy. We'll call it maybe 7% agreeing, 7-8% agreeing with Boogie. And he has, I don't know, 8 times the viewership in 2 days. And you know, maybe I'm being disingenuous. Let's see what you get on a regular. So we're not disingenuous here. Oh, this video is actually doing very well for you. Seems that you have a problem where you're not even breaking 2,000 views on a lot of videos. Oh, nope, there's a 3,000 view video 2 weeks ago. For the amount of content that you're putting out, I was wrong to defend Vosh. That got you probably the most views recently. Yeah. Doesn't look like your content's doing that much better than Boogie's there, so I would say maybe shut the fuck up and watch what you're saying, because you have no fucking clue. And the man's clearly still doing better than you are.
But hey, anything for a quick buck and a taste of cloud, eh, Boogie? Even if it means siding with some of the worst people on the internet. Glad to know that all the kind words and encouraging messages you've tried to deliver in your videos in the past didn't mean shit, and that it was all just a facade to try and convince everyone that you're somehow the good guy of the internet.
By the way, I didn't see Boogie talk about Kiwi Farms on there. I thought they were the worst people on the internet. Are we changing now? Are we going back to anybody right adjacent is awful? I don't even know Melanie Max, so I couldn't give you a fucking opinion, but it sounds like you know her a lot more than me to say that she's an alt-right grifter. I would say you're an alt-left grifter, tipster. And you know what's really funny is those alt-right grifters might be paying a lot better than your alt-left grifters. I haven't seen any donations come in on this stream.
I hope for your sake that grift was worth it, Boogie. Jeez. Somebody actually asked...
Go on. I'm waiting for us to get to the point where you sit there and you show your proudest moment here.
Boogie what his thoughts were on my comments. He says, if I pissed off Tipster, it's a good litmus test I'm on the right track. Really?
Somebody asked that. You know who the fuck Chris the Narc is.
I then proceeded to quote tweet him by saying, I'd rather be me than pander to alt-righters like you are. Using libs of TikTok as a source, the person who literally caused a children's hospital to receive bomb threats over her bigoted posts? Yikes, Boogie, you've lost the plot. Oh shit, oh shit. He literally sided when somebody was asking him for
You literally sided with someone that stands on accusations of potentially being involved with someone who conducted some actual fucking crimes, and on top of that, may have supplied I don't know if they're necessarily illegal, but medication to minors to physically and permanently alter their bodies.
Evidence of the claims that he was making. He literally cited libs of fucking...
Oh, and these were supplied by someone who's allegedly a groomer by the same individual that you're standing with.
TikTok, chat. He then says, before I hop off Twitter for a while, I have pissed off a lot of people of color and the LGBTQ folks in the past 24 hours. Know that I still love you and will always fight for you when I can, but it won't change my opinion that video games are meant to be fun and not lectures. I am not sorry about that. Boogie, you're telling people of color and like, you know, LGBTQ plus folks, that you love them and you support them, while you align yourself with people who are outraged by their existence.
Who did he align himself with? You keep saying this over and over and over and over again, man. But you've yet to sit there and show any proof on your end of him aligning with this stuff. The fact that he used a libs of TikTok for a source means he's automatically aligning himself. Boy, I'd love to be able to go through your history and see who you're aligning yourself with. Too bad you block everybody.
While you align yourself with people who are mad that black characters exist in video games, or gay characters exist in video games, or trans characters exist in video.
Well, you've really escalated this fucking argument to all this, huh? All this over the fact that he's just pointing out that this guy created a fucking list. The company that the list came from, technically, because he could have pulled the list off their website, and it looks based off of all his recommendations that he's pulling the information directly from Sweet Baby Inc. Yeah, he made this list of their games and just said, here's their list of games. You're surmising all this. You've linked all these fucking strings in to this fucking conspiracy theory.
Video games, that there are pronoun selection options in video games.
Fucking pronouns!
How can you tell these people that you love them and you support them while also supporting these people? It doesn't make sense, Boogie.
Who is he supporting? He just did something. Oh, here's your
I
proud
was being
moment.
petty here, but you know what? Fuck it. I'll include this too.
Hey guys, it's me, Francis. And you know, last time this Gamergate thing happened all those years ago, I feel like I was on the wrong side of history. I was just kind of
He's so
bit
proud
a
of himself
fence-sitter
for
last
this.
time, and so this time, I want to make sure I'm on the right side of history. You know, last time that big meanie Anita Sarkeesian was so mean to me at VidCon, and I didn't like that very much, so this time, I'm going to side with all the racists and the Nazis and stuff like that, because they seem to think I'm a really cool guy, and they seem to be on the right side of this thing this time. And like I said, I want to be on the right side of history this time around. You know, there was that.
Can I ask you something, Tipster? Is it really that fucking hard that you had to do all this shit? You couldn't sit there and, like, I don't know, record the fucking audio and, you know, maybe just use a picture from the internet?
Infamous stream clip of me saying that, you know, at least, you know, racists and Nazis, they stand by what they believe in. And, you know, I'm going to stand by them this time because that big bad Anita Sarkeesian was so mean to me at VidCon. How dare her?
Oh my God. Jesus. You know
Oh my God, with the soundboard, man.
what clip I'm talking about, by the way? Do you guys know this infamous clip where Boogie was talking about, like, how at least Nazis stand by what they believe in or whatever? Can I find this? Here's the clip. I could not believe this even back then when he said it. Look at this shit, chat.
I'm gonna say as much.
So
shit,
we're
do
going
as
to
much
pull
shit
up
as I can
something
to keep your attention
from...
so you don't
Oh, we're not going to
somebody
show
else.
the dates because we don't want to know.
I'm here for you to torture me and only me. I'm gonna make a living letting you torture me. I'm gonna be the next Dark Side Phil. I'm gonna be the next Wings of Redemption. I'm gonna spend every day online to keep you fucking busy so you
Oh,
may
Jesus
harm other
Christ.
people, but at least they believe what they fucking stand for. You stand for nothing.
I still can't believe he fucking said that. That is fucking insane. Oh, God. And you guys may have noticed on one of my previous tweets where I quote tweeted him, actually a couple of my previous tweets where I quote tweeted him, that you couldn't see the tweet I was quote tweeting. Obviously, I showed it to you guys before showing you my quote tweet, but you couldn't see the original tweet I was quote tweeting, you know, when I was showing my quote tweet, right? That's because Boogie couldn't handle my criticism. He couldn't handle the fact that I'm right. You're aligning yourself with really fucked up people, Boogie. And as a result of that, people are shitting all over you on Twitter right now.
There's people shitting all over you on Twitter all the time. How do you handle it? How do you handle it, Tipster? Let's talk about how you handle it. Let's talk about how you blocked me. You never even fucking messaged. You never had an interaction with me. You blocked me over fucking time stamping Mike the Bike's video. We really gonna talk about thin-skinned fucking people here? And I know you've done shit over pettier shit. You fucking, I had Jim in the chat earlier. You fucking blocked him for liking something. Or for posting something that you weren't even tagged in. You're that thin-skinned. Boogie has immensely more, like, just better qualities about him than you. And that's sad of you as a human. In fact, it's so sad. Let's finish this out, because I'm going to finish this fucking stream out. I'm about fucking done with it, because you just aggravate me to fucking hell and back. This is you right here, Tipster. At everyone kind of thing. I wanted to take a moment, or not everyone. This is probably, I think this came from like your Discord moderator like channel or whatever. I wanted to take a moment and post some tips on things to look out for that are banned topics moving forward in my chat, as well as the Discord for the foreseeable future. The topics of Lolly, Shota, CP, unless being covered on stream. The topic of PDF files, unless being covered on stream. The Vosh folder incident / out of context clips, drama, or the defense of Vosh by myself or Keffels. False allegations of myself, Vosh, Keffels of being a Lolly, Shota, PDF file, or groomer. Mentions of how do we know they're false, Tipster? How do we fucking know they're false? Just like you're sitting there and making the accusations of Boogie, how do we know all this stuff is false? Where's the proof, man? We don't know for sure. And nobody's actually accused you directly of being those things. Actually, if we want to really kind of be technical, I know you like the technical arguments. No one actually directly accused you of being a lolicon. They accused you of defending it, which you adamantly did 4 fucking times. Mentions of the commentary community creators that are clearly meant to derail the stream, promote their content, or appear to be a part of the hate raid and harassment campaign. Man, maybe Sweet Baby Inc. should hire you. Maybe they already have. If you see any mentions of the above topics in the Discord or my live stream chat, maybe that's why shit's dying out on your end, please delete their chat and give the user a warning. Failure to comply can result in further action. Do not disclose publicly that these topics are banned. Simply ask any user discussing these to refrain from doing so, delete their chat, and take additional action if needed. So don't even fucking disclose to the person. Just delete their chat and then what? Give the user a warning. So you have all these banned fucking things going on, and you're talking about how other people are soft-skinned? Jesus fucking Christ, man. Well, that's honestly every fucking thing I got. I'm basically done at this point. My brain's done. This whole impromptu stream got through about 3 topics, so we'll get 3 more VODs out probably tomorrow or the next day. We'll get everything up. There'll be a tipster VOD. There'll be a VOD on the whole situation with Lizzie and Wisp. Then there'll also be the whole kind of going over the stuff with George's Not Found. So I'll get those up as soon as possible. They'll probably have the same this March Madness thing. Aside from Tipster's video, I'll make sure he's got a special little thumbnail for him. But yeah, look for the March Madness stuff if you're looking at the Minecraft March Madness stuff. If you're looking for anything related to any of the Minecraft allegation stuff going on. And, I'll try and keep the Tipster and Keffel stuff kind of related with similar thumbnails so you can easily differentiate those. Again, I'm trying to diversify. I do have a Patreon now. Strictly Patrick on Patreon. I have Kick. You can feel free to catch me on there. Rumble. I've been trying to back up some videos too, just in case anything were to ever happen. Twitch, which you can watch me on there. I have been starting to try and do these live streams to Twitter as well. So you might be able to even catch me on there. If you want, here's just a couple of the places you can find me. If you enjoy the content, please give me a like, maybe leave a comment if you think there's anything I could do to improve. Other than that, I will see you guys. I'm gonna probably go back to my regular show after this, so I will be here Friday at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and you guys can come out and we'll have a topic. We'll probably go on for another long stream, but hopefully not as long as these most recent ones. But other than that, you guys have a great evening. Thank you for coming by, talking, liking, supporting. I greatly appreciate it. Y'all have a great night, and I'll let Mr. Medicare take you on out. Oh, we are way too fast. Let me put that back down to normal first. There we go. Let's start that over. All right. Take it away, Medicare.